Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well, and you're loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my esteemed subscribers. You are loved, celebrated, and of course, appreciated. There were some shocking truths that I came across. To some of us it's not shocking anymore, but to those who are not aware, it is definitely shocking. It is shocking, and why is it shocking is because of the gravity of the situation. Okay, I want you to listen to this quickly, and there are some discussions I'm going to have with you after that, your majesties.
Shocking truth. Several African nations are still paying colonial debt decades after independence. Countries like Senegal, Ivory Coast, and Cameroon pay millions annually to France through the Colonial Debt Pact, a system forcing them to deposit 85% of their reserves in the French treasury. This isn't ancient history. It's happening right now. Madagascar pays for damages from their own independence rebellion. The Central African Republic sends resources worth billions while its people live on less than $2 a day. These payments drain economies that could use those funds for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. This colonial hangover keeps these nations trapped in cycles of poverty, while former colonizers continue to profit. The question isn't just why this exists, but why so few people know about it.
All right, majesties, I hope we listen to that very keenly, and now I'm going to take you through the realities, right? Now, when we talk about Cameroon, okay, Senegal, Ivory Coast, we are all aware already that they are still in the hood. They are still in the hood, and it's for a fact because at least you know what President Faye went to say to Trump when he went to the White House. And why do you think Trump invited Senegal to the White House? It just shows that these are nations that they totally still have a hold upon. I hope you understand that. Now, when it comes to the French government, they still have a hold on these nations. Do not get it twisted. Sometimes there are things that happen that we are hopeful and we feel like, okay, all is going to be fine, all is going to be well. But the other time, when we are meant to face reality, we understand that we still have a long way to go as the African countries, right? Cameroon, remember Paul Biya is returning. Why do you think that Paul Biya is campaigning? He had bought the youth to campaign for him. When I was talking about Paul Biya here, some Cameroonian had come to the comment section and said, you don't really understand. Some had even sent me emails that they want to explain to me, if I want to give them ear, they want to explain to me why they believe that Paul Biya is still good. This is the same Paul Biya who had been ruling this nation for years, and the country is still in debt, still backward. The same Paul Biya they are still agitating for. And some youth have vowed that there will be blood shed during this election in Cameroon for those who don't want Paul Biya to remain as president. So he's going to be president forever until he dies. So I think it's only death that is going to separate Paul Biya from the presidency of the Cameroon nation, right? This same Paul Biya does not live in Cameroon. He lives in France. He only comes to Cameroon during election. When he gets elected, he comes once in a while. He rules Cameroon from France. I hope we're getting the level, I think the depth, the level of this situation that we are in as the African people. I told you that Macron is ruling Cameroon. Some of you don't want to understand. Paul Biya does not rule directly in Cameroon. He doesn't live in Cameroon. He rules Cameroon from France. Who is the president of France? Why do you think they still give him a place to live in France if he's not a puppet of theirs? If they are not controlling him, they would have asked him to live for a long time. But he's still there in France. The same Paul Biya that 3 years ago had showed that he has amnesia. Not just because there are people that have amnesia we can understand, but this is only from old age. So who do you think is ruling when someone does not even understand himself or he don't even have consciousness of where he was when he was asked during the summit? And you saw how he disgraced himself there at the summit. This is the same Paul Biya. And so Why do you think Cameroon would not be backward if they're always paying this huge amount of money every year to France? This was exactly what was happening in the Sahel, and the Sahel kicked them out. So will these four nations kick them out? And that of Madagascar, Your Majesties, it got me. Okay? That of Madagascar got me. That of Ivory Coast, we are all aware already. They were even using them to go destabilize the Sahel. Remember those terrorist group one time that came to the Sahel? It was said that they came from Ivory Coast, and Ibrahim Traore had even told the public news that the president of Ivory Coast was supporting the fight of France, of Macron against them. So we are all aware that Ivory Coast is still totally under the hold of France. Now, Madagascar is still paying for damages, okay, for their own independence rebellion. No, I think we need to wake ourselves from this thing. Now, why do you think that nations find themselves in this tight corner? It is because of some of the documents that the leaders in those nations had signed without really understanding what those documents are for. And sometimes, even with understanding, what do? They're already puppets. They have to just sign those documents. Okay? So, out of wickedness, cunningness, the French government still eats from Africa. Now, just imagine that this four nation follow the footstep of the Sahel nation and cut themselves off from the hold of the French government. Do you think that France will survive? It is just three that kick them out. They want to die. They are almost dying. So if this one kicks short, they will be buried forever. It is not a small amount that goes out. I keep telling you here, France is among the nations. I think the top three. Is it number 3 or number 5? You can correct me. Of nations that with the highest gold reserve in the world. France does not have gold mine. Where do France get her gold from? All from countries in the continent of Africa that they are lording it over. This is where they got their gold from. So they get money in cash, they get money in kind, in resources, in materials, all out of Africa. And you want to tell me that they're going to survive if Africa decides to become rebellion or rebellious against them and push them out totally? They would not survive. Where is the fairness in this? Where is the democracy in this? Is this the people that have agreed that, okay, they should keep paying this amount to the French government? Because democracy is for the people and by the people, right? Is it the people that say, okay, Macron, we agree to be paying you this amount? No. They are complaining, they are shouting, they are crying. But they can't just help it, they have to keep paying this money. Your Majesties, they have to keep paying this money. You see the situation the African countries are left with? That they have put some of these nations in a tight corner that this nation cannot even say anything for themselves anymore. They can't fight, they can't do anything. They are left with no option. They are left with no choices to make. And we're living in a world where they say there is freedom, where they say there is human rights, what have you. The way they say there is this, there is that. When it comes to human rights, the collective West have failed. In short, they are guilty 100% of all the dealings against the continent of Africa. But have anybody hold them accountable for that? Nobody have hold them accountable for it. But if any African nation wants to liberate herself and be free, they come and start, sanctioning that nation. The fact before our faces. Listen to this and then leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section, Your Majesties.
Between 1958 and 1961, France did something absolutely horrible. France made the Francophone African countries, and I don't even want to use that terminology, but I only use it for the purposes of conversation. The 14 countries which were formally, but still colonized by the French, they were forced to sign a document that they called the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. You heard me. The Pact for this continuation of colonization. If you want your independence, you must sign this. Guinea, Secretary said absolutely not. Mali said absolutely not. France, pack your bags and go on back home. France could not believe it. Could not understand that an African country, these monkeys, do not want to be affiliated to France. They said, we will show you. So history tells us France went into those two countries, took everything that they thought they had brought to those two countries, including the last teaspoon and chair, proceeded to pour concrete into the sewage pipes, completely devastating the two economies. The then newly appointed president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, in his efforts to rescue these two economies, created the first ever union of any African states, Ghana, Guinea, and Mali. But what that did was it made the other African countries realize that if they go against France, this was the fate that was waiting them. So what did they do? Wave the paper. And they signed. What did the pact say? One. The pact said, you monkeys, you don't know how to manage your money. So you shall deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Central Bank under the control of the French Minister of Finance. And that France is going to take your deposits from the individual countries, pool them together, invest them in the French stock market under the French name. And you, monkeys, you may or may not know the returns. Latest figures are showing this is still going on since 1958. France today is collecting out of Africa over $500 billion before investing. And when they finish investing this money, for every 14 billion out of Africa, they're recognizing over 300 billion. Now do the math. So when it's actually said and done, France is taking out of Africa trillions of dollars every year, and we, the poor Africans, are gladly giving it to France. And the same France has the audacity to look at us and call us poor people. 1958. They went further with the pact. You say, we will also print your own money. We will print your money for you. They instituted what they were calling the CFA, special currency for the African countries, and that only France can print that money for you. They went on to say all the contracts, large contracts, public and private, French companies have the first right of refusal. All your minerals discovered, yet to be discovered, France has the first right of refusal. Now, my brothers and sisters, if one of you was to wake up one morning and you're president of one of those countries, and your chief of staff walks in first day and starts reading you out the do's and don'ts as stipulated by the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization, what power do you have? None. And the same countries that are stealing from Africa, they have the audacity to look at Africa and say, Africans, what's wrong with you? Why can't you all take care of yourselves? Well, let's start by leaving our $500 billion on the continent. But what they do instead, they want to throw you with a smoke screen. Your African leaders are corrupt. Well, you know, I gave you that. I mean, not all African leaders are corrupt. Africa is a family. No family is complete without crazy Aunt Sally and crazy Uncle Tom. Nobody's perfect. Okay, fine, so I'll give you that. Their own figures are saying 50 billion is getting out of Africa from corruption. Fine, I give you that. But you do not want me to engage in a conversation that's solely limited to the $50 billion out of Africa through corruption. First, you don't tell me where it's going. You simply tell me it's getting out of Africa. But secondly, there's a bigger thief. You got two thieves, one with a briefcase with 50 billion and the other thief with a briefcase with 500 billion. I am a smart woman. You want me to ignore the one with 500 billion and put all my energies on a suitcase with 50? And by the time the one with 500 billion is done investing, we are talking trillions. Now, do you see how quickly the funds out of Africa from corruption become the larger chunk under the table? And they want you to stay under the table. So you never have to talk about what is on the table. We must wake up, Africans. We must think about our situations. How did we get here?